Hi, I'm Saris. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be continuing Smaugust 2026 with weeks 2 and 3. If you'd like more info on Smaugust or to see the previous illustrations, be sure to watch my video for the first week. But basically, it's a whole bunch of dragon drawings. And there's a lot to cover in this video, so let's get right into it with day 8. Starting out the second week is the prompt fungal. My original idea was to take inspiration from the shaggy ink cap mushroom. This mushroom actually dissolves its gills into a black liquid, creating this very dramatic dripping look. I noodled around with this concept for a while, but I felt like none of my sketches properly captured the ink cap's flair, and it was hard to superimpose it onto a dragon's head in a way that looked organic. So I switched over to using Coker's Amanita as a base instead. In the first designs, I was also experimenting with giving the dragon multiple heads, to reference how fungi can grow in clusters. I hadn't done a Hydra-type dragon for the challenge yet, so this felt like a good time to go for it. Coker's Amanita is off-white colored with some beige, and that became this dragon's color scheme. Day 9's prompt was evolve. I was thinking about some interesting evolutionary adaptations I could stick on this dragon, and I settled on drawing a dragon with a pouch inspired by a marsupial species. I was specifically referencing the eastern grey kangaroo, but changed and added a few things like the eyes, ears, and of course the wings. This is about when I started to feel some burnout, so I don't think this is as refined as some of my previous drawings. At least the baby's cute. Fae was the prompt for day 10. I've never really been that into Fae dragons, but my basic impression of this kind of design is something along the lines of a more typical looking dragon with insect wings and maybe some antennae. And also they're small. I wanted to go with some more bug-like traits, even if it didn't exactly fit the prompt, so I made this dragon inspired by tree hoppers. Tree hoppers are these insects that camouflage into their environment, and some of them end up looking really wild to accomplish this. This design is kind of a mashup of different species, but I took inspiration for the overall body from a horned tree hopper, and the color inspiration from the oak tree hopper. I really like this body shape because it reminds me a lot of a wizard cap, and I think that makes the dragon feel a little more magical and reclusive. Now for day 11, pastry. This one felt pretty self-indulgent because I personally find desserts really fun to draw. I went with a strawberry tart dragon. It was easy to come up with the body since I was designing it around the centerpiece of the pastry crust and strawberries, but the face gave me a little trouble. I wanted something cute to match the rest of the design, but I still wanted to imply some personality. The face I ended up with hits the mark for me, although it weirdly reminds me of Bulbasaur. It was nice to break up these animal-inspired designs with something different. Day 12 was Reeve. This dragon is inspired by real-life fish species, like the queen angelfish, the golden damselfish, and the mandarin fish. I also added in some eel to give it a more sea serpent-like appearance. I'm honestly not happy with the rendering on this one. I remember being tired while working on it, and then I realized after the fact that blending the black of the spots with the yellow just looked really gross and muddy. It was also hard to balance all the transparent fin parts, so the final illustration has more tangents than I'd like. But to focus on some positives, I think it definitely gives Reef fish. This is day 13, so the second to last illustration of week 2, and the prompt was Twilight. No, not that one. My idea for this was to draw a really old dragon that's also colored like a twilight sky, as a play on the phrase, the twilight of someone's life. I don't think this is a bad idea, but I really wasn't feeling it that day, so the execution is kind of lacking. I think something that could have helped would be having more separation between body parts with the coloring. I mainly wanted the gradient in colors to look like the sky at twilight, but I can see now that the lack of contrast is working against this design. So let's leave this old guy alone for now and go on to the last prompt of week 2. This is day 14 with the prompt Cosmic. This concept actually changed quite a bit from the original sketch. I started out wanting this dragon to have visuals inspired by the planet Saturn, specifically because I could picture the ring system making for a very interesting feature. But the more I worked on it, the less I liked that idea. I think it just looked really busy and distracting with how I posed the dragon. So I got rid of them, but kept the idea of coloring the dragon like Saturn, with the hexagonal clouds at the top. I still wanted to reinforce the idea that this dragon was pretty big, so I added that shooting star streaking past it. Now we've made it to week 3! Yay! I actually took a break in between this and the last drawing, so I felt decently refreshed. This dragon is based on the white-bellied caique parrot, which lives in tropical forests in South America. I've been watching a lot of bird videos recently, and I love the way caiques run around, so this dragon is also doing that. To give the design more unique features, I drew in those little spots of color at the end. It's a very shiny creature. Day 16 is Mimic. There's a lot of different places you could go with a prompt like this, but thankfully it wasn't too difficult to put the pieces together. This dragon will be a small guy pretending to be a big guy, inspired by the Sphinx Hawk Moth Caterpillar, which has this really cool adaptation of being able to inflate itself to look like a snake. I didn't take too much inspiration from the actual caterpillar though, because I wanted this to clearly be a dragon disguised as another dragon. I'm very happy with how this illustration turned out. I think it's a good mix of goofy and scary energy. Hopefully the actual dragon's face is still noticeable with all of this going on. Our next day is day 17 with the prompt of vines. To be honest, I didn't think about this one that hard. I just wanted to draw a lot of ivy and vines covering this dragon. I have noticed that some of my more reptilian dragons have pretty similar faces, so I also tried to differentiate this one by giving it a more crocodilian snout. I probably should have added some veins to the leaves because they look a little unfinished, but I think I just straight up forgot to do that. Prompt 18 is construct. I don't know. Prompt 18 is construct. My first concepts were of these giant mechanical dragons with built-in furnaces. While I do think that design would have been fun to draw, I also saw a lot of similar looking dragons while searching for references, so instead I shrunk it down to make this tiny mechanical dragon that can do simple tasks for you. I was picturing it riding around in someone's pocket and then popping out when they need a lock picked or something. I'm still learning how to render metallic surfaces in this kind of style, so this felt like good practice. Day 19 is Abyss, and I like the idea of doing something based on sea life that lives in the abyssal zone of the ocean. While looking into it, I found out the Dumbo octopus lives down there, and I thought that would make for a pretty fun design. Although this one isn't super accurate, since I also took inspiration from the bioluminescent firefly squid, which aren't found nearly as deep down. The end result looks kind of space-like, which also fits the Abyss theme. The prompt for day 20 is fan art. I'm drawing fan art of a Muskeshu, which is a dragon-like creature from Mesopotamian myth, particularly how it appears on the Ishtar Gate. I don't actually know if the Muskeshu is supposed to be a dragon in the way we think of dragons today, since it's usually depicted as a hybrid of a bunch of different animals, but I really wanted to draw it, so why not include it here? And now for day 21, and the last prompt of the video, Corrupt. I was imagining a more evil dragon for this prompt, like its magical power had been corrupted. The body design ended up on the simpler side with some fire bits for accents, so I mainly tried to use color to convey the corrupt supernatural elements. I don't use red and green together a lot because I usually think of Christmas when I see them next to each other, but I think this more bluish green and pinkish red actually works well with the sinister mood I was going for. Okay, that wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday, or whenever August ends. I think it's a Monday. Okay, bye!